Hello, people. Welcome to today's podcast. Today, in new news, we are currently going to be looking at certain things that's been going on with Joe Biden, as well as Dr. Fauci has now is facing a call to resign cause of recently exposed emails stating that Fauci lied to Congress as well as us, the people. But yeah, let's continue. So. They're making crap up on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan floats suing CNN for claiming he took a house dewormer. So let's continue. So let's go ahead and read into this. Popular podcast host Joe Rogan floated taking CNN to court after high-profile reporter for the network falsely claimed on air that Joe Rogan took horse dewormer to treat COVID-19. And this dude says, "Do I have to sue CNN? They're making this up. They keep saying I took horse dewormer. I literally got it from a doctor. It's an American company. They won a Nobel Prize in 2015 for its use in human beings. And CNN is saying I'm taking a dewormer. I'm an idiot. Sorry, excuse me. It's a horse dewormer. Don't know what it is. It's a certain pill that horses will take to get rid of their worms. They get it from usually just the stuff they eat, that or they can get it from overtime and crap. Just it's worms aren't very good to get, and I'm sure you know, especially off of like puppies and crap. But Joe Rogan said on his podcast Tuesday, they must know that it's a lie. Rogan aired his grievance with the network after CNN chief domestic correspondent and anchor Jim Acosta falsely claimed that Joe Rogan was taking a livestock dewormer and other unproven treatments to deal with COVID-19. The podcast host Joe Rogan had came down with COVID. He says he's been taking the livestock dewormer, IV Mercedin, as well as other treatments that people talk about on the internet and so on. Doesn't have any effect on COVID, obviously, Acosta said during a Sunday interview with Dr. Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. I'm going to go ahead and play the video, and it's absolutely silent for yeah.
You've had to debunk misinformation coming from some high places throughout this pandemic. Some of the latest, Fox's Tucker Carlson, he's been defending counterfeit vaccine cards. Let's just watch a little bit of that.
Buying a fake
Sorry about the people. It took a little second. Don't worry. I'll go back a bit.
Buying a fake vaccination card is an act of desperation by decent, law-abiding Americans who have been forced into a corner by tyrants. You know what's a serious crime? Forcing Americans to take drugs they don't need or want. That's a very serious crime. And let's hope in the end someone is punished for it severely.
And the podcast host, Joe Rogan, he came down with COVID. He says he's been taking the livestock dewormer, ivermectin, as well as other other treatments that people talk about on the internet and so on. Doesn't have any effect on COVID, obviously. Did you ever expect that you would have, I guess, to compete with the likes of Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan, Dr. Fauci? And are their voices more powerful and I guess more widespread than people like yourself, other public health experts who are out there? And isn't that part of the problem?
Well, Jim, disinformation and misinformation is really a very serious issue when it comes to a public health issue like COVID-19, in which it is essential to get correct information out, both for people who are infected and who do need proper medication and proper care, to foster things that are unproven. Right from the beginning has always been a problem. The best way to counter disinformation and misinformation is to try as best as we all can to get the proper and correct information out. But one of the enemies of public health is disinformation, and unfortunately, we do see that in some quarters.
Okay, that was the video as you just saw there. This was posted by Sarah Reese Jones. Dr. Fauci tells well, I can't exactly do it, but just Dr. Fauci tells Acosta that disinformation, like being spread by Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan, is one of the enemies of public health. And if, for the people that really just don't see the issue with people saying, "Oh, I've been taking dewormers," that's pretty stupid, especially for something that false, because it makes you seem dumber than you are. The best way I could put it is to I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that you, the listener, have recently came down with the flu, and what you decide to do is go ahead and uh oh yeah, sorry about that, but more or less for the people that don't understand why haven't while saying something like let's say for example something like let's take a pot shot and say something such as trying to think of something right now. I can tell y'all probably can tell I'm not the best at thinking of things off the top of my head. But more or less what this is best like is just it makes you seem stupider than you are in the way that if you had the flu and we hear online that eating a whole bunch of hot sauce immediately gets rid of the flu. And then you do that and you start complaining about and then say some whatever if that right now doesn't sound bad, but imagine you're a very famous person and those kinds of lies are being spread. I'm sure you wouldn't like that. But let's continue on. The Rogan, the host of the Joe Rogan Experience, which is an amazing podcast. I heavily recommend you go over on Spotify and listen to it. An amazing podcast. Awesome. Announced over his Instagram page last week that he had tested positive for COVID-19 and was going to undergo a variety of different treatments, including the malaria drug inversemtin and mon- monoclonal antibodies. Joe Rogan's video announcement set off a wave of misinformation among journalists and others about ivermectin and an anti-parasitic drug that is used to treat both humans and livestock. Joe Rogan said that multiple doctors recommend he take ivermectin to treat his COVID-19. They're making it seem like I'm doing some wacky crap. That's completely ineffective, as CNN said that I am a distributor of misinformation, Rogan said. Which, yeah, CNN does say things like that a lot. It's very stupid. But the news of Rogan's COVID treatment appeared to trigger a string of false stories about the IV Certamen. As the Daily Wire reported, the Associated Press has took the issue to correct an article published in late August that claims 70% of calls made to the Mississippi Department of Health were from people who ingested the livestock version of IV Certamen. The story followed media hype and the idea that people were taking a common horse dewormer to treat COVID-19. Someone somewhere may have done this. Someone somewhere somehow. I ain't heard that song in a while. But yeah, may have done this, but the media has treated as if it's a common phenomenon and has been proven wrong. Alright, absolutely wrong. Alright. Wrong, alright, you're absolutely wrong. Alright, what you're saying isn't correct in any way, any form, anyhow. Alright, you should really know how to fix yourself, CNN. But hey, not my fault they're just a whole bunch of idiots. I really can't say much. Me and Joe Rogan have both had COVID-19, alright? And from personal experience, I can say that I was perfectly fine and I was able to return to the White House after many of years. Nah, that went from Donald Trump to like Boston. But yeah, to continue on. In another instance of misinformation, a false news story in an Oklahoma hospital being overrun by patients overdosing on Ivers, ivermectin was pushed by numerous journalists, commentators, and others. The hospital later released a statement correcting the record, knocking down the claims of former doctors who left the hospital months ago. The statement said. Although Dr. Jackson Akia is not an employee of NHS Fancy Word, he is affiliated with the medical staffing group that provides coverage for our emergency room. With that said, Dr. Uh, Michaela has said to not work on the silly sauce situation in over 2 months. NHS Fancy, you know what, I'm just gonna call him NHSS. NHSS has not treated any patients due to complications related to taking ivermectin. This includes not treating any patients for IV Samaritan overdose. All the patients who have visited our emergency room have received medical attention as appropriate. Our hospital has not had to turn away any patients seeking emergency care. Uh, we don't want to reassure our community that our staff. We want to reassure our community that our staff is going to provide quality health care to all the patients. We appreciate the opportunity to clarify this issue, and as always, we value our community support. All right, so more or less to sum this all up, what's been going on is that Joe Rogan is taking CNN to court for defamation because they're making him out to be stupid, and even went on to call him a spreader of misinformation along with Tucker Carlson. And sorry. Yeah, more or less what they're saying is, hey, he said he took a dewormer, which is proven to be wrong. And hey, look at how stupid he is. He's not stupid. He's actually very bright. Sadly, idiots call other geniuses idiots, even though they don't see the irony. But to continue on with the other thing, Dr. Fauci is called to resign, answering a shocking report about U.S. government-funded Wuhan research. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of U.S. National Institute of Allergic and Infectious Disease, NIAID, that, and chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden, is facing calls and answers for shocking report published by Intercept about the so-called gain of function research that is National Institutes of Health funded by the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The WIV is thought to be a possible origin point of COVID-19. I actually do believe that that lab is where COVID-19 began, and it got in a bat, caught it, and that's, of course, what's led us up to this point, which is stupid. But to continue on with this, in May of 2021, Dr. Fauci, in his testimony to a Senate committee investigating whether the U.S. funded gain of functions research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, claimed NIH has, quote, has never ever and does not now fund gain of function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. All right. The Intercept, however, found through a Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) or whatever request, evidence that the NIH issued a bat coronavirus grant to the group called EcoHealth Alliance for $3.1 million, including $599,000 that the Wuhan Institute of Virology used in part to identify the Altabat coronavirus is likely to infect humans. As the Daily Wire reported Tuesday, Dr. Richard Albright, a molecular biologist at Rutgers University and an expert who spoke to the Intercept, elaborate on the findings on Twitter. The material shows that in 2014 and 2019, NIH granted EcoHealth with subcontracts to the WIV fund gain of research, as denial in federal policies in effect in 2014 to 2017. And potential pandemic pathogen enhancement has defined their federal policies in effect 2017 to present. Elbert noted that the materials confirm the grant supporting construction in Wuhan. The novel chimera SARS related to the coronavirus is combined in a spike gene from one coronavirus with genetic information from another coronavirus, confirming that the result of viruses could affect human cells. Yeah, can affect human cells. The materials revealed that resulting novel laboratory-generated SARS related to coronavirus could also affect mice engineered to display human receptors on cells, humanized mice, he added. The materials further reveal for the first time that one resulting novel laboratory-generated SARS-related coronavirus. You know what? Just to go ahead and just save time, I'm just going to go ahead and just call this LG SARS. That's gonna save time, alright? But one had not been previously disclosed publicly, was pathogen to humanized mice that started the virus from which was constructed, and thus was not reasonably anticipated and exhibited enhanced pathogen, but indeed was demonstrated to exhibit enhanced pathology or pathogenicity. That puts Dr. Fauci in spotlight. Dr. Ebright even suggests that Fauci was being untruthful in his remarks to the Senate. Several Republicans have already suggested that Dr. Dr. Fauci must face a full investigation and be totally forthcoming about his agencies. The NIH's involvement in the funding research of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Representative Jim Jordan, a Republican of Ohio, suggests that Dr. Fauci is hiding something and should face an investigation. Right here is his post. Your tax dollars funded coronavirus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China. What is Fauci hiding? Right here? Just a little. It's a little brand. It's a little article. Right here, former White House physician turned Congressman, Ronnie Jackson, Republican of Texas, also demanded answers, and for Dr. Anthony Fauci to be terminated from his role as top health advisor to the president. And right here, Fauci's NIH found a dangerous gain of function research to the Wuhan laboratory, the same man that wants to mask your kids and keep us locked down, forever helped cause this pandemic. How does he still have a job? Fauci needs to be fired and investigated immediately, which is true. I strongly
Back with
believe
us now,
that a lot of this is worse
former
because
White House.
of Dr. Fauci, especially because locking us down is not helping any. It's actually making everything a bunch worse. Although after this, I'll go ahead and just exactly explain my view on all of this. Representative Josh Hawley, Republican of Montana, I'd like to say that is, I might be wrong, had the harshest criticism demanding that Dr. Fauci resign immediately. And here's his Twitter thing. Anthony Fauci has repeatedly and deliberately misled Congress and the American people. Resign and face a congressional inquiry. Right here, this was a quote tweet to this one dude, Richard H. Ebright. The documents make it clear that assertions by the NIH director Francis Collins and the NIAID, I'm just calling them AID, director Anthony Fauci, that the NIH did not support gain of fluctuation research or potential pandemic pathogen enhancement with WIV are untruthful. So to continue with this, so Senator Rand Paul, Republican of Kentucky, has already referred Dr. Fauci for an investigation to possible pre-jury related to his testimony in front of Congress. The article has been revised for clarity, but yeah. So to go ahead and give my opinion on this, honestly, I think that Fauci is actually very much at fault because I believe he actually did in fact fund the Wuhan to get the COVID, and I believe Fauci is not doing much to help because right now he's done put us in lockdown, which has not helped the economy any. He is putting us in masks, which masks are not helping us any either. A whole bunch of the stuff that he has going on is just not right. But to go ahead and continue on with immigration right now. So real quickly, immigration, because I remember seeing something. All right, here. So, record number of illegal immigrants expected to die en route to U.S. in 2021. So, since President Joe Biden has weakened border protections put in place by his predecessor, aka Trump, the much better president, I'd say one of the best presidents in history, only to be bested by Ronald Reagan himself. And as you know, Ronald Reagan is the best president. And I don't want to hear no BS about George Washington. He did cross the Delaware and he did have a big role to play in creating America, but he did not do much as a actual president. You gotta keep in mind, there's achievements. One really big achievement doesn't compare to a whole bunch of others. But I will say, without George Washington, there would be no America. There would be no Austin. There'd be no Yo Mama jokes, and there would be no Candace Wee Wee fit in your pee pee. Now, since President, yeah, but his predecessor, number of legal immigrants who will die attempting to cross the southern border is expected to reach its highest level in U.S. history. Although it's difficult to properly date and identify the remains of people discovered in the desert, experts believe 2020 was the deadliest year in the history of the southern border. Last year, Border Patrol agents found the remains of 253 people near the U.S.-Mexico border. This year though, July, agents have already discovered 383 people, a 151% increase. The numbers of deaths have increased across the flank of America's nearly 2,000-mile border with Mexico and 12 southern Texas counties, the number of remains discovered nearly tripled this year, from 45 in all of 2020 to 128 by this June. In Arizona border sector, officials found 127 separate sets of human remains by this year's midpoint, more than in all of 2017. But officials gave several reasons for the spike in the death toll. The sheer number of people making the dangerous journey has increased dramatically since 2021, especially since President Joe Biden's inauguration. Every month of the Biden-Harris administration has seen an increase in the number of legal immigrants reaching historical levels. Some 212,000 people have attempted to enter the U.S. illegally in July 2021, the second highest number in U.S. history behind March 2000 when agents apprehended 220,000 illegal immigrants. In all, there would have been a total of 1 million, 1 million, a small loan of $1 million encounters with illegal immigrants this fiscal year. We started in October 2020. The sheer increase in numbers means more people will die, sadly. Gangs of human smugglers or coyotes. For the people who don't know what coyotes are, apparently coyotes that people actually think coyotes are people. Coyotes are actually people that are paid by like moms and dads and uncles and stuff to like take their kids or to just take people in general to smuggle across the border. That's what a coyote is. A coyote is not this, alright? As sad as it is, a coyote, this isn't the coyote you're thinking of. There's two different kinds of people. You got these skinny little dog-like creatures, and then you got the illegals. But yeah, have changed the way led by caravans. Instead of having foot guides personally lead large groups of people through the desert, they now communicate via cell phone. Ambiguous or misunderstood instructions can cause people to get lost. This summer's high temperature has also claimed lives. The vast majority of deaths came from hypothermia, commonly referred to as heat stroke. Huh? From hypothermia. Huh? Let me see something real quick. That's hypothermia. That is hypothermia, right? What is it called when you freeze to death? Let me see. So, hypothermia. So, there's hyperthermia and hypothermia. Okay, I just actually learned something. There's a difference between hyperthermia and hypothermia. Good to know. Commonly referred to as heat stroke, as well as dehydration, common symptoms of crossing the desert on summer days when the temperature is frequently reached 110 degrees. No! Oh, no, I'd rather stay in Mexico than 110 degrees. God. Oh, thank you, Lord, for 80-degree weather in here in Virginia. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Continue on. Survivors have been often found delirious and wandering around in circles. Human smugglers also abandon those who cannot keep up with the group or use children to distract border control agents while the rest of the party escapes. In June, agents found a 5-year-old girl from Guatemala wandering alone near California's Tijuana River. Just attempting to, but yeah, just attempting to. Wait, what? Oh, this is a whole nother article. Okay. But just attempting to save those attempting to enter the U.S. illegally is consuming a larger amount of federal agents' time and U.S. tax dollars. The Border Patrol has conducted 10,275 rescue missions this fiscal year, more than 2019 and 2020 combined. Sometimes they're on the horseback into most remote parts of the desert. This situation has become so dire that 250 of the 3,700 Border Patrol agents in the Tucson Center are EMTs or paramedics. That means roughly 7% of the workforce is dedicated to saving the lives of illegal aliens. The number of illegal immigrants in danger also puts the U.S. Border Patrol agents' lives at risk. Each rescue means someone almost died, and our agents risk themselves to save them. Stephanie, uh, Stephanie Anaya, Border Patrol Assistant Chief Patrol with the Del Rio sector, yeah, told San Antonio's KNS5 TV. More than 9,800 employees of the U.S. Customs Borders has tested positive for COVID-19, and 35 has died since the beginning of the pandemic, two in the last month. Yet the U.S. agents vowed to redouble their efforts to save as many lives as possible. They plan to erect 48 rescue beacons near the border by October and have set up already 1,000 emergency plankers that give migrants instructions on how to call 911 in the Rio Grande Valley alone. And most importantly, they're telling would-be migrants to not come to the United States illegally, possibly losing their lives in the sands of Mexico, Texas, or Arizona. The Del Rio Sector Border Patrol Chief Austin, hey, it's me, Austin. Chief Austin Secretary said that the message to the undocumented migrant population is don't cross, it's not worth risking your life. I agree, Austin. Sounds like me and you would get along. But so, speaking as a physician, there are safer ways to do it than coming across the border, said Dr. Corny Stern, a medical examiner at the Webb County, Texas. Even if you say to yourself, it's worth my life, I'm willing to risk my life, think about your family. Lax border enforcement policies or political promises of citizens and social welfare benefits encourage people to make the deadly trek across the desert. Every inducement encourages migrants to pay human smugglers, potentially get sexually abused, and perhaps lose their life en routes in the United States. Lawmakers may never forget the very real human toll of their compassionate promises to flout America's immigration laws. Now, to be honest, I feel really bad for Mexico right now because I understand why they're doing this. But at the same time, I'm very against this kind of stuff, and I have to really say that as bad as I feel, come in legally. As hard as it is, and as long as it may seem, you're better off just taking your time and just doing it legally. Some just always remember, legal is easier than illegal. But I want to go in and see something real quick. Arthur's been hey cool. Wonder if Ben Shapiro's made any new ones. Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. Alright, so I guess we'll go ahead and so let's go ahead and read see if there's any more stuff. So trending right now, highly effective COVID treatment, Joe Biden won't tell you about. Uh I really don't I'm trying to go ahead and judge versus decision order. Alright, we're doing our high spike Georgia Bulldogs dealing with COVID. Hunter Biden. Is this like only for like people who have, yeah, that's who it's for. Okay, as I thought. Alright, so so I'm gonna go ahead and so latest. Alright here, uh so let's go and see. So right here, so Google is teaching employees that listen to Ben Shapiro leads to genocide. I like this one. Alright, this one's gonna be good. Alright, a tech giant that has Google is holding anti-racist training for its employees that claim a direct link exists between listening to Ben Shapiro, editor emeritus of the Daily Wire and the host of the Ben Shapiro Show, and committing mass murder. The training also places former President Donald Trump on a list of ideas such as people that lead to genocide, along with political beliefs. Phrases such as "all lives matter," which all lives matter. Of course, I believe that. I don't get how people find that racist. No racist than Black Lives Matter. I mean, all lives matter means everyone. Black Lives Matter is only going towards one kind of people. Just saying. Don't look at me. Look at them. But Shapiro, Trump, and the rest have all contributed to the normalization of racism. No, it's just that racism hardly exists in America, and I would even go as far as to say it doesn't. It does, but it's not as bad as personally, I believe that 1950s bathroom. If we were to even do this, you see, I'm sure what you would see. No, I mean like 1950s public bathroom. No, it's probably because I'm saying bathroom, not restroom. Restroom. Ah, yes, there. See, if there's one little thing you should know about the 1950s. Okay, that's weird. Just, here. Blacks. Nah, screw it, blacks and whites only. Water fountain. See, for example, no trash. Yeah, there we go. See, thing is, there's a major difference between back then and now. Back in the 1960s, this happened. Back in the 1960s, you had whites only and color type things. For example, right here, that was a colored little drinking fountain right there. Was of course a white person only. But yeah, more or less that yeah, like for example, like things like this, which, wait, what is this? Oh, thank God for Mississippi. It keeps South Carolina from being the bottom of the list. What? Don't spend your dollars where you get 10-cent jobs in AAs here. Alright, whatever. But, go ahead and continue on with this. Sorry about that. Shapiro, Trump, and the rest all contribute to normalization of racism that eventually inspires mass shooters. Wrong. And leads to genocide of entire peoples groups. Wrong. According to the slide of training circularism obtained by Manhattan Institute Christopher Rufo. Another graphic titled White Supremacy Pyramid advanced the idea that conservative commentator Ben Shapiro is a founder of white supremacy and Donald Trump is moving society on a path towards mass murder and genocide. Rufo tweeted along with a pyramid. So this is by Google. I'm clarifying this now. This is by Google. Not me, but Google. Right here, yes. So right here we have lynching, hate crimes, blackface, the N-word, swastikas, neo-Nazis, burning crosses, racist jokes, racist slurs, KKK. So that is all like the top of racism. First of all, I have to disagree with that right there. I love a good racist joke. Call me what you want or call me something. I love racist jokes. Racist jokes are absolutely funny and amazing. Then right here, so convert white. So this is socially acceptable white supremacy, apparently, or some stupid convert white supremacy. I don't know. Apparently, I don't give if these are racist or not, but let's see. Calling the police on black people. I'm calling this BS right now. I am going to call the police on a black person if they're, for example, breaking into my car. I'll also do the same to a white person, or a Mexican, or an Asian, or an anyone. Don't matter who you are, if you're doing something that is illegal, I'm gonna call the cops, especially towards me. So white silence, I'm assuming that is if you're not speaking up for black people, which is BS, cause like Black Lives Matter does not help black people, they only help themselves. Color blindness, I guess that means not seeing color, which you think they'd want you to not see color. White parents self-segregating neighborhoods and schools. First of all, white parents, you can't avoid that. That's just something that comes along in life, bro. But yeah, here, if you really want to, I'll let you pause the video. I'll give you 5 seconds. Alright, cool. If you want to, you can read all this and take it out for yourself. But yeah, to continue on, another graphic title as the white supremacy pyramid. So there's this one right here, which was another one we were going to look at. So right here. So first of all, so I guess this just rates all of them. So if we go towards all the way to the bottom, you have All Lives Matter, which is apparently indifference. There are two sides of every story, political beliefs, avoiding confrontation, politics don't affect me, all lives matter is normal. I'd like I think that might be Ben Shapiro. I think this is Ben Shapiro and some other I can't remember right now. But minimization, white savior complex, not all white people, not blaming PLC experiences, denial of white privilege, post-racism intentions, impacts. First of all, this is all BS. I'll tell you what is true. So, white savior complex, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no such thing. The only such thing as a white savior complex is like the white people at Black Lives Matter, like shush, 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 you sweet black angel. You don't know that that internally you're not getting your fair treatment. It's BS. It's bullshit. That's white savior complex. Not all white people. Yeah, you best bet. And I can say the same with black people. Not all black people commit crimes. Not all white people are racist. Not all Asians are good at math. Not all Hispanics are illegal. Things like that. That's stupid. Not believing POC experiences. If that means rape victims, first of all, a strong majority of rape is false. Like a very strong majority of rape is false. A lot of it is just pure fake accusations. Like that's all there is to it. Seriously, it's what there is, man. That's just that. Literal fake ones. Cause there was one article that says something about some dude did not want to bang a chick, and the chick called the police and said he raped her. Dude almost went to jail, but there was no DNA, thank God. But so right here is Trump. Racial profiling. Wrong. Trump does not racially profile. He has nothing against anyone. The only time he's never had nothing against anyone. The only reason why he strengthened our border was so that people would come in legally. And when he banned Muslim people from coming in, that's mainly because there was a strong fear of terrorism. And we had to be sure that no one was bombing, especially because radical Islam doesn't come from Russia, China, or India. Well, eh, technically India, if the Middle East is considered India, but Russia, China, and the UK. Most of if radical Islam, which is like if you blow yourself up, you get 72 virgins, is radical Islam. Nothing more, nothing less. But right here, mass incarceration. God, I feel like I got a tickle in my throat. Mass incarceration. I don't ever remember him. I don't ever remember any kind of mass incarceration. I honestly don't. Of just tell me what people were massively incarcerated. Racial slurs. I don't remember once Trump. Shoot, I could probably look it up. Donald Trump saying the word. Donald Trump saying a racial slur. Uses a racial slur in a famous church. So let's see. And the audience cheers. Okay. Oh, we rely on advertisers. So. Oh my God. There you go. Hopefully that's it. But yeah. Screw all this. But shut up. But COVID-19 is not the only disease, blah blah blah. I really don't plan on doing this. I'm looking for the video. Okay, so there's no video, it's just them saying that. So Kung Flu. But that's not racist, that's true though. It's Kung Flu, literally. It comes from China, Kung Fu. It's a very flu-like this virus. It's like a flu. I'm sorry, but that is funny. That's a funny joke. That is not a racist word. He's not saying the N word, he's saying Kung Flu, and in my opinion, Kung Flu is very funny. It's a very funny word. I'll personally probably stop saying that. I mean, stop saying it, probably start saying that. So, CS Donald Trump really dropped a racial slur on live television tonight. So, we're gonna go ahead and see what it is. So, by uttering a racial slur, I was fanning whether. So, 2 days early, lost. Trying to see. So, Pocahontas content was over. I mean, that's not racist, that's an insult. And I mean, even Trump publicly accused Warren of false claim on Cherokee, which is true. Uh, Senator Warren is actually about as Cherokee as as actually I'll show you something funny. Hold up. Quarter Black Garrett. So hold up. Quarter Black Garrett. So this is my boy right here, Quarter Black Garrett. You probably know him from Louder with Crowder. Love Louder with Crowder. But this dude is in fact a quarter black. His dad is, guess what? A quarter black. That is true. He's quarter black. His dad's black. His dad's African American. Oh no. His dad's mixed. His dad's mixed. So yeah, where his dad's mixed and his mom's completely white. Do the math. He's quarter black. But yeah. So more or less, this dude. So fun fact, fucking Pocahontas is actually less of color than Donald Trump. But to go and get back to this or whatever, Donald Trump's never did any of that. He's never said racial slur, blah blah blah. Anti-immigration policies, no. Anti-illegal immigration policies, that would be correct. So we're gonna go ahead and just continue, and then I'm gonna end it there. Shapiro was the top target of anti-Semitism on Twitter among journalists in 2016, slammed by Googling training. All it would take is one Google search to learn how much white supremacists hate my work or how often I've spoken out against their benighted physology. Psychology, I don't care. I'm tired right now, so I can't exactly pronounce words the best. Shapiro told Ruffo in a City Journal, attempting to link everyone to the right of Hillary Clinton to white supremacists is disgusting, untrue, and malicious. Employees put through the training are taught that the United States is a system of white supremacy, that Americans are raised to be racist from infancy through adulthood. Rufo writes in City Journal that racial re-education programs is based on the core tenets of critical racism, which if you don't know what critical racism is just the it's more or less that people are trying to get put in schools that more or less teach black kids that their white friend is actually oppressive and against them, and teaches white kids that they're actually the evil and the epitome of scum and they should kill themselves. But yeah, including intersectionality, white privilege, and systematic racism. So yeah, more or less all that. As I said, white privilege teach kids that they're evil white bitches, even though that's not true, and systematic racism, which does not exist. So the training featured prominent anti-racist activists such as New York Times, Nicola Hannah Jones, and Boston University Professor Ibram Kendi. Hannah Jones is credited with the Times 1619 project, an effort to reframe the founding of America and replace the Declaration of Independence with the institution of slavery. That is absolutely stupid. You're trying to replace the most important piece of paper in American history with something that doesn't even exist no more and is absolute BS. You're an absolute idiot and you should just get your head out of your ass and stop acting like you're a god. If you name anything in America, I can relate it back to slavery, Jones says. Okay then, sweet potato pie. There's a whole bunch of things, so you're gonna say that? Alright then. Then get back to slavery. So, you know what? Here's what I got. Phones. Know what slavery that comes from? Slavery in China. You know who you worship? People in China. China in general, actually. They worship the government in China. So guess what? The only racism that's going on here is your own fucking people you worship, you absolute bungalow of an idiot. Alright, just had to get that out. I'm irritated. So the 69th project has been roundly rejected by scholars of the United States and its founding. Oh wait, well, I relate back to slavery. Jones said in one of Google's training videos, adding, "If you're white in this country, then you have to understand that whether you are personally a racist or not, whether you personally engage in racist behavior or not, you are the beneficiary of a 350-year system of white supremacy and racial hierarchy. You are wrong. You're absolutely wrong, and you're an idiot." Kennedy runs into the Center of Anti-Racist Research at Boston University, claims unequal outcomes rather than unequal treatment by defining racism. Google's training Kennedy that to be raised in the United States, not to be raised by a racist, it is to be raised to be a racist, it is to be raised to almost addicted to racist ideas. That dude's just calling America a racist general, so fuck Kennedy. He can move out and go to Canada or Iraq or Afghanistan. I can name a whole bunch of countries that lowers America, you little titled bitch. He says that racism must be treated like a serious illness and that those claiming to not be racist are only in denial. For me, that heartbreak of a system is denial. And sound denial, I'm not racist, Kenny says. Certainly, it's critically important step for Americans to no longer be in denial with their own racism and the racism of the country. Okay, to put this clear, this is a lot like the one Coca-Cola ad. Coca-Cola, one Coca-Cola training video that's supposed to make white people feel awful and make them think that they're evil people. To say this now to all the white people listening, you're not evil, you're not racist, you're not bigoted, you're a human American and a person. To all the black people listening, you are not oppressed, you are not unjustified, you are not You're not at a disadvantage. You're an American, you're a person. To all the Mexicans and immigrants and everyone else listening, you are not an illegal immigrant that shouldn't be in the country. You are not at a disadvantage. Not everyone hates you. And most importantly, Donald J. Trump is not against you. The one who truly is against us as Americans is the media and our president. Thank you, people. Have a good day and God bless. Stay safe.